Today, cattle slipped a little bit. That cash trade has been very, very slow after the election, nothing doing really, and the futures have slipped now that it's over, and it kind of is confirming the sell-off that started on Monday. It has a few of the traders concerned that there just isn't anything to shore it up here. That sharp drop in the boxed beef sales, I think, is also weighing heavy on these markets right now, and there just isn't a lot of participation. I expect that when we get a lot more traders to step back into the market, that it will shore it up, and we'll get a few bargain hunters stepping in. The feeders were also down, and that's because most of the sales were really lower, and that's bringing everything down. There is some worry that there's going to be some of the demand is going to decline earlier than expected. Now, we expected a little drop in demand at the end of November, and this is kind of early to get that started, but I think that that's what the worries are, and we're getting a little bit of a jump on it. And so, you know, there really isn't enough demand or really exports out there, or some numbers that we can really sink our teeth in to kind of get a hold of this market. So it didn't slip in a drastic level, and it was actually very quiet. And sometimes when the markets are quiet, they start to get a little bit weaker in the market. And I think that everyone's trying to digest exactly what happened in the election and which way we're going to go. So we're watching the White House, trying to see if that they are going to make any headway now with that U.S.-China tariff war, because that really could play a good role in beef prices going forward. But right now we're still kind of languishing with this issue. The hogs did rebound, thank goodness, because we had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday, but the futures still remain pretty volatile. There are some issues that have the fact that they've stabilized, but we're still keeping an eye on the swine fever because there are some issues with it. Not only the idea that we should be able to increase perhaps some of our sales, but the idea that because they're cutting a lot of the herd, that we're going to have a more difficult time in processing and pork production across the board. So with them, you know, certainly cutting the supply, it's going to make it very difficult to really increase our pork supplies. That being said, we're still saddled with some big supplies here in the U.S., and we're looking forward to, you know, starting to get some of the, you know, push some of them out. At this point right now, nothing has really happened, but there should be some expectation in the next couple of weeks that we're going to see some real movement and get an idea of how we're going to be able to proceed with this. Okay.
Wonderful.